Hello you guys, here B37. Today's topic is sideboard, a general guide to sideboarding. As you know, many players don't take it seriously, and sideboarding is a really important thing because it can determine if you win or lose your match in Magic the Gathering. So I decided to make this video to share with you guys some of my experience. This video will be divided in 3 parts. The first part is introduction to sideboard and general basic rules. The second part is some hints that I will share you guys, some hints that I have acquired throughout my experience as Magic the Gathering player. And the third step is a practical example with one of my favorite decks in Modern. Okay, so moving to the first part. As you know, sideboard is those 15 cards that you put aside your deck, and you can put some cards into your deck and put some cards out of your deck so you can determine against what you're playing against. And as basic rules, we have 3 basic rules. The first basic rule is know your deck. You need to know your deck because you need to know against which decks your deck are weak, against which strategies your deck is strong, because sometimes you don't need to sideboard against certain decks because your deck is pretty strong in the main deck, or sometimes if you know that you're playing a combo deck or you're playing a control deck that is really weak against some kind of deck, you need to be prepared in your side deck, or you need to have some cards to interact, or because you know that sometimes you will face that rock paper scissors format. So if you are being the rock, you're facing a lot of paper players, you will end losing. So you need to know your deck first. The second rule is determine the meta game. This is extremely important because depending on what you're playing, if you're playing Standard, you're playing Modern, you're playing Legacy, if you're playing Pauper, if you're playing Pioneer, etc., you need to know the meta game. And you not only need to know the meta game as general, you need to know the meta game if you're playing into your local store, if you're playing in a major event like a Magic Fest or a Pro Tour that is more difficult to be prepared. But however, you need to be prepared for the meta game. It's not the same if you're playing in your Friday Night Magic local stores or in another tournament in your local stores than if you're playing in a Grand Prix or a Magic Fest. The level is different, there are different players, and chances are that you will face better decks in the Magic Fest or Grand Prix, at least at the later stages. Then if you're playing in the Pro Tour, you need to be really skillful, and you need to be really creative, because it's not the same the meta game that we are currently facing either in local stores and in a major event as a Magic Fest than the strategies that you will face in a Pro Tour, because people tend to be creative, people tend to keep his better strategy to come out in the Pro Tour as innovation and surprising. So talking about, for example, Modern, you need to know the meta game. In this case, today's meta game, you can expect Eldrazi, you can expect a lot of John, you can also expect Grixis the Shadow, you can expect some kind of Merfolks, kind of Ursa. You need to be really prepared. You need to do a kind of investigation of what's playing around. If you're playing in Magic Gathering Online, search for the decks, search some videos and see what's the meta looking like, and then you can build your strategy against such decks. And the third rule is make your deck better. Not always you will be just putting cards that are of your colors and are really great of your colors against other decks. No, this rule means that you will try to do your deck better every time. If you remember the first rule, know your deck. If you are sideboarding, if you are control and you are sideboarding against a born deck, you know that your deck is kind of weak, but you have cards in your main deck as timely reinforcements, and in your side deck you have other cards as Collective Brutality or Celestial Purge. You need to make your deck better. You just need to see, okay, chances are that my opponent playing Burn will side deck this card, will side deck this another card, and I will need to be prepared. So I need to put some cards in my sideboard that can interact with my opponent's sideboard. That way you will make your deck better. So that's for the basic rules. Talking about the hints guy, I will share at least 2 important hints that I have acquired during my experience as MTG player. The first one is playing control. If you are playing control, you may switch into your second and third game, at least to your second game, to some pieces of an aggro deck. For example, I was playing once in a PPTQ in the top 8, and I changed, I was playing Esper Control in Standard, and I just changed some cards out and I put some Adanto Vanguards in. And I was playing against an Iset Phoenix, and that guy couldn't recover. That guy couldn't destroy my Adanto Vanguard. That was too much. Adanto won my game, because nobody expected that. If you're playing against a control player, chances are that strategy became more control or maybe combo, but nobody expects like an aggro strategy game too. That's one hint. Just be prepared. If you want to be kind of risky, put some sideboard aggro tools out, put it inside during second game, and that's one really important. The second is playing a combo deck. I have been playing Ursa in Modern for at least the past 2 years, and one thing that I have learned about this, if you're playing combo, game 2 you need to take out the combo, because chances are that your opponent will put in some cards that can destroy your combo, that can interrupt your combo. So if you sideboard your combo out and put some control pieces in, your opponent will be having dead cards in hand. That's another good hint. If you're playing combo, either Ursa, either Jeskai, Copycat in Modern, or Goblins. Goblins is more difficult, but talking about Ursa that can be sideboarded easily into a control deck, you can do it. Also Jeskai, you can sideboard into a control deck, you can do it. And second game, chances are that your opponent will have dead cards and you can win the game. The third one is talking about anticipation plans. If you know the meta, if you remember the second rule of the basic sideboarding, if you are prepared for the meta, you can prepare yourself a list of sideboarding plans. Like if I will face Eldrasitron, I will take out this and I will put this. If I'm facing Jaunt, I will take out this and I will put out this, and accordingly. Another hint that I will share with you guys is take as much information as possible from the first game. If you are playing a first game and you're losing, but you are not completely dead, and assuming that you still have a lot of time, you can keep playing to get as much information as you can from your opponent, so you can sideboard accordingly in a better way. So that's for the hints, and let's move to the practical. Okay guys, so moving to the practical example. Here we're going to show you how do I side deck for Grixis Death Shadow. Basically my sideboard is one Liliana, the last hope. I have Liliana because basically it's another Dot Scour, it's Planeswalker, it's a cheap Planeswalker, and we can win by her ultimate. This card is usually sideboarded against Mirror Match, against Control, or against some other creature-based decks. We can mill, we can recover our cards. I'm also playing Kroxa here, so this is great because we can mill, we can generate graveyard advantage, we can hit one Kroxa, we can return Death Shadow or Gourmet Angler or Snapcaster, one of our important creatures. Then we have Plague Engineer. This is also a must. I'm sideboarding Play Engineer because now the meta is Merfolks, is kind of mono white tokens as well, is Ponza, and also not too many, but I have seen humans. So Play Engineer is really good against tribal, and Play Engineer sometimes makes you win certain matches. So Play Engineer is a must because I can be prepared to see, or if I had some tribal strategy that I was not aware of, Play Engineer is really good. I have Mystical Dispute. This card is really nice against anything blue, against combo, against control, against mirror match, against Merfolks. I think according to the current metagame, this card may not be great because I may face a lot of green dread or jaunt. However, there's a lot of white control decks, so I better have this card against because I was talking about rock paper scissors. If I face a lot of control, this card is great. Then I have to Ceremonial Reaction because I'm anticipating a lot of colorless strategies as Eldrazi Tron, of Natural Tron, Mono Green Tron. I'm expecting those cards because Eldrazi Tron is a deck that is very consistent. Today's metagame is full of Eldrazi Tron, and now with Double Masters out, with a lot of reprints of Tron, Mono Green Tron will be a thing. I guess I will be facing a lot of Tron, so I think Ceremonial Reaction is really good. Then I have Dreadwar because one of the things that Edge is weak about is weak against Planeswalkers. Even though I have the counterspell as a Stubborn Denial, chances are that I have no Stubborn Denial every time. So Dreadwar is really good because it can destroy Planeswalkers. Even if it's a sorcery, it's okay. Kolaghan's Command, really good against artifacts, destroying a card, return creature from the grave. This is really good against jump. This is really good against burn, also against control, if they're playing artifacts or just to get card advantage. Collective Brutality is also nice against control and against Born. To be honest, I have not seen a lot of Born around. However, with reprints of Ursa Tron lands, I will be expecting a lot of burn, and this card is great. Disdainful Drop against combos, against big creatures, against big spells, and I have here the Graveyard Hate against any kind of graveyard strategies as Dredge, for example, or any control deck, main deck in Uro. Those cards are great. And then I have, like, as I was saying, I expect a lot of Tron or Eldrazi Tron coming up soon. So Damping Sphere is really nice against any type of Tron or any type of Titan. So that's it for the practical sample, guys. If you want to see a specific side deck, please let me know and I will do my best. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. See you again soon, guys. Thank you for watching.